were 6 when they entered the jungle. 6 scientists, hired by a private biotech firm called Helix Corp., searching for regenerative plant samples in the uncharted heart of the Vanbara rainforest. Led by Dr. Nathan Cole, a botanist with an obsession for ancient flora, the team came prepared for extreme isolation, equipped with solar labs, satellite uplinks, and enough food to last 2 months. From the beginning, the jungle felt wrong. Too quiet. The birds kept their distance. Even the insects moved low to the ground, quick to vanish at the smallest motion. The deeper they went, the thicker the silence became, broken only by the occasional rustle from unseen trees, always just beyond the edge of vision. But the team pressed on. For Nathan, it was more than a mission, it was destiny. They found it on day 7. The tree stood alone in a clearing, massive and blackened, with bark like charred flesh. It was unlike anything they had ever documented. At least 20 feet wide, it towered over the canopy, its branches twisted like petrified arms. But it wasn't the size that stunned them, it was the bleeding. From dozens of gashes in its bark, thick crimson sap flowed down the trunk, pooling in the moss. The liquid was the color of blood and had the metallic scent of iron. Nathan leaned in close, brushed the sap with his gloved fingers, and stared at it with something like reverence. "It's alive," he whispered. "Not just living, feeding." That night, under their lanterns and makeshift lab tent, the team analyzed the sap. It wasn't sap, not exactly. It contained hemoglobin, enzymes, even cells, living cells mimicking human blood. There were also unknown compounds, proteins that reacted aggressively to oxygen, causing rapid healing in damaged tissue samples. They had never seen anything like it. "You realize what this means?" said Camilla, the biochemist. "This stuff could heal burns, regenerate skin, maybe even regrow organs." Nathan nodded. "We're standing in front of a biological revolution. They called it Arbor Vitae rubrum, the red tree of life. But the locals had another name, Yulkanara, the tree that feeds." 2 days later, Jonas, the team's medic, vanished. He had gone out early to collect soil samples near the clearing. They found his kit and broken radio near the edge of the pool of sap. The pool had grown larger overnight, almost by several feet. At first, they assumed an animal attack, but there was no sign of struggle. No tracks. No blood. Just silence. "Something's wrong with this place," said Elena, the youngest on the team. She hadn't stopped shaking since Jonas disappeared. "That tree isn't natural." Nathan dismissed her. "Jonas probably wandered off. These jungles can play tricks on the mind." But by the 3rd night, everyone was hearing the sounds. Low groans at dusk. Faint whispers near the roots. Branches creaking though there was no wind. And then there were the dreams. Every member of the team began having the same nightmare, of standing under the tree, paralyzed as the trunk split open like a mouth and drew them in. On the 4th night, the sap moved. Camilla, keeping watch, screamed when she saw it slither up a root like a crimson snake. The others rushed out in time to see a tendril of the red liquid pull itself up and vanish into a crack in the bark. The next morning, they found a small deer corpse near the clearing, its body completely drained, eyes wide with terror. No visible wounds, only 2 small holes near the spine. "We leave tomorrow," said Marco, their survivalist. "I don't care what we've found. This thing, it's not a tree. It's a predator." But the jungle didn't let them go. Their satellite uplink stopped working. Compass needles spun wildly. Every path they took led them back to the same clearing. By the end of the day, the tree had grown another 2 feet. The sap was spreading in veins across the ground. Nathan, however, had changed. He barely spoke, barely ate. He spent his hours by the tree, sketching its every detail, humming to himself. When Elena approached him, she found red streaks on his arms. He'd begun injecting himself with refined doses of the sap. "It's the key to evolution," he said, eyes wide. "It doesn't just heal. It transforms." That night, Camilla confronted him, syringe in hand, demanding he stop. Nathan didn't flinch. "It showed me," he said. "The tree speaks, Camilla. It's ancient, older than humanity. We're just food to it, until we accept the gift." Then we become part of it. The next morning, Camilla was gone. Her tent was slashed open. Blood smeared across the grass led to the base of the tree. The bark had shifted. A new fissure opened like a mouth, seeping fresh sap. Inside, something twitched. That was the last straw for Marco. He packed gear and forced Elena and Raj, the engineer, to come with him. They left Nathan behind, still chanting near the roots. But the jungle was no longer the same. Branches twisted in unnatural ways. Vines snapped at their ankles. The air grew thick with a cloying metallic smell. Elena swore she saw faces in the bark of trees, faces of Jonas, Camilla, and others, whispering. By the second night of their escape, Raj began coughing blood. His skin turned pale, then red. Veins bulged under the surface like roots. "It's in me," he gasped, before collapsing beside a hollow tree. By morning, his body was gone. In its place, a cluster of new vines had sprouted. Elena and Marco pushed on. But the jungle would not let them leave. No matter which direction they ran, they returned to the clearing. The tree was larger now, towering, breathing. Nathan stood at its base, transformed. His skin was bark-like, veins pulsing red. His eyes glowed faintly. "You see," he called. "It gives life. Elena, run!" Marco shouted, but he was too late. From the ground, dozens of tendrils erupted, ensnaring him. He fired his flare gun, but the vines smothered the flames. His screams echoed once, then silence. The vines dragged his body into the roots. Elena ran. She ran for days, or what felt like days. Food gone. Compass spinning. She followed the sun. She ignored the whispers. She bit her tongue to stop screaming. Finally, the jungle thinned. Light broke through. She collapsed near a muddy stream where a rescue helicopter, responding to the team's distress beacon, found her unconscious. She awoke in a sterile white room. They told her she had been missing for 3 weeks. They had found no other survivors. No sign of the tree. "No," she whispered. "It's still there." She was kept under observation. Her blood showed no signs of infection. No traces of the red sap. But something had changed. At night, she still heard the whispers. Felt her skin itch. Sometimes, her dreams bled into waking. One evening, while brushing her hair, she saw something in the mirror. A thin red vein beneath her skin. Moving. Pulsing. The jungle hadn't let her go. And deep in Vambara, the tree still grew, fed by the curious, the greedy, the lost. The tree that bleeds was waiting.